Thank you. Senator Luján.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Admiral, for years I've been pushing one administration after another to go after the cartels and drug trafficking. We all represent a lot of people who have lost their lives and others that are preyed upon. And I've also been after administrations to say that they should be going after financial institutions in a meaningful way that are suspected of laundering money for cartels. A lot of those folks, they just pay a fine. No one ever goes to jail. And it just becomes the cost of doing business. Something has to be done in this space. So any attention brought to stopping this nonsense, I appreciate. Now, with that, I have a lot of questions, and there's no clarity that I'm aware of that's been shared from the administration to members of Congress outside of maybe one small interaction that was available to a few members of the U.S. Senate in the area where Senator Kim, I think, asked you some questions about the military strikes on vessels in the Caribbean and the Pacific. I think 83 people have been killed to date, if I have the number correct, unless something happened from my walk over from where I was to where I am today. My question, Admiral, is yes or no, does the U.S. Coast Guard have a role in these military strikes on vessels in the Caribbean or Pacific?
Senator, thank you for the question. So under our Coast Guard Maritime Law Enforcement Authority, we're not involved in the Department of War's operations that you're describing. That's under the Department of War, Senator.
Yes or no, are you aware of the Department of, I'm still going to call it Department of Defense, is utilizing the U.S. Coast Guard's Title 14 law enforcement authorities to conduct these strikes?
Senator, I'm not aware of that at all.
Yes or no, as a lawyer and career Coast Guard officer, do you believe these strikes fall within U.S. and international law?
Well, Senator, those strikes you're describing are being carried out under the Department of War's authority, and so I'll defer to them for questions about the authority for that military activity.
You're the top person at the Coast Guard, aren't you, sir?
I'm the acting commandant. Yes, sir, that's correct.
You're also a lawyer?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
You're a career Coast Guard officer?
Yes, Senator.
Probably one of the most knowledgeable people serving in the Coast Guard today about all these activities. I'll ask the question one more time in case there might be an answer. Yes or no, as a lawyer and career Coast Guard officer, do you believe these strikes fall within U.S. and international law?
Senator, my focus as the acting commandant, and if confirmed, the future commandant, my focus is on our operations under Coast Guard Maritime Law Enforcement Authority, not the Department of War's operations. I will defer to the Department of War to answer the questions on their military activities that you're describing, sir.
Admiral, have you been pulled into any meetings around this?
I have not been involved in meetings regarding those military activities specifically, no, Senator.
The Secretary of Defense, as you referred to, the Secretary of War, Secretary Hegseth, has not had a conversation with you about these strikes?
I have not had a conversation with Secretary Hegseth about these strikes, no, Senator.
Is this Coast Guard responsibility in the Caribbean and the Pacific? You have responsibilities in this area?
We do, Senator. So the Coast Guard provides under our Maritime Law Enforcement Authority and our capabilities. We're continuing to execute the direction of the Secretary of Homeland Security for our traditional counter-drug mission under Law Enforcement Authority. That's one of a series of instruments that are available to the President. And so we are continuing the activities under our authority and making record seizures of drugs. In fact, this morning, the Coast Guard cutter Stone is offloading in Florida a record amount of drugs, cocaine, that they seized in the Eastern Pacific as part of Operation Pacific Viper that the chairman described.
And this is the Coast Guard's mission?
That's a Coast Guard mission and operation.
I applaud you for that. Let's turn there. So I agree that the U.S. Coast Guard's efforts to interdict vessels has been effective. As you pointed out just this morning, but in 2025, the numbers I have is you disrupted over 402 metric tons of cocaine, an estimated value of $7.2 billion. I applaud that. Yes or no, do the Coast Guard's interdiction operations yield intelligence opportunities beyond the immediate outcomes of an individual mission?
Our interdiction operations, our maritime law enforcement operations do yield intelligence. Yes, they do, Senator.
Do interdiction efforts contribute to stable global trade system and help prevent piracy and smuggling?
Our operations do, yes, sir.
have they resulted in intelligence that can be used to dismantle networks and prosecute the individuals involved?
Yes, sir. Traditionally, over the years, we have gathered intelligence that is fed into the investigative cycle, and that work continues today with the interdictions that I've described this calendar year that we've conducted.
I appreciate that. It sounds like this is all in the mission of the Coast Guard. I'm just surprised that the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, they not even talk to you about this. That sounds disrespectful. That sounds irresponsible.
Senator, I would say...
I'm not asking a question, Admiral. I apologize, sir. I'm out of time. The Chairman's going to take it from me here in a second. I hope that gets corrected. I hope the Secretary appreciates your expertise, your service to our country, what you have achieved and what you have done, and is willing to pull you in. So, Mr. Secretary, if you're out there, if you're listening to this, give you the benefit of the doubt. If you've ignored the Admiral, give him a holler, pull him in, have a good conversation, and learn from this wise person. I yield back, sir.
Thank you, Senator Luján. Admiral Lunday, my final question is required of all nominees. If confirmed, do you pledge to work collaboratively with this committee to provide thorough and timely responses to the committee's requests and to appear before the committee when requested?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senators will have until the close of business on November 21st to submit questions for the record. The nominee will have until the close of business on November 24th to respond to those questions. That concludes today's hearing. The committee stands adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.